It's our boy, Colin Cowherd. Last week, we reacted to Colin Cowherd's herd hierarchy. Everyone seemed to enjoy it, especially the thousands of people who were telling me to kill myself. So we're going to do it again. Let's look at Colin's top 10 NFL teams heading into the week of Week 6.
10 best teams in the NFL. Let's not waste any time.
Herd hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
Cleveland Browns. Kevin Stefanski is my early leader for Coach of the Year.
I don't have a problem with this. On my power rankings, I have Cleveland at 11. This is fine. I think Cleveland's ceiling is still pretty low. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield, but Kevin Stefanski may be the real deal. So, Colin, I'm fine with this. Good for Cleveland. Good for Cleveland. Coaching is as important right now as it's ever been in the NFL. Right now, it looks like Stefanski's doing a hell of a job. The difference between Freddie Hitchens and Kevin Stefanski, big difference.
Here they finally got a smart coach who's a grown-up, very mature. I love what he's doing. They not only lead the NFL in rushing, but they lead the NFL in 10-plus yard rushes, meaning that's a big play rush offense. They'll hit you over the top as well. Baker Mayfield worries me, but he does have multiple touchdowns in each game. I'll probably know more after this weekend against Pittsburgh. But the Browns.
Yeah, that's a huge game. If they go win against Pittsburgh, that's where it's like, damn, Cleveland might just be for real. Cleveland might, if they win in Pittsburgh, I will be the first one to say that they are a true threat to the AFC North.
Defense scares me on the back end, but they have forced 12 turnovers this year. Number one, Baker worries me in big spots, but I got Cleveland number 10. I love their coach. Pittsburgh Steelers.
I have Pittsburgh pretty high in mine. I think I have them at 5 in mine. I love their front seven. Their front seven is so good, especially in a passing league. Roethlisberger has fallen beautifully into his role. He's like a better version of Peyton Manning when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl in Denver. I wouldn't hate if they went and got Le'Veon Bell, to be honest. They brought him back, him and James Conner. But this team, very well-built roster, very good coach, very good organization. They're a tough team. They're probably a better version of Tennessee. They're close to that. But I like Pittsburgh a lot. I've been heavy on them all year long. And I think they could easily be in the AFC Championship game this year.
Listen, you can't run on them, so it's going to be will versus force this weekend. Cleveland's run game against Pittsburgh's run defense. Their upcoming schedule, Browns and Ravens, will tell me a lot about Pittsburgh. I've still got some doubts. They're only 24th in the NFL yards per play.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing, is that if their offense can make enough happen. I mean, this is an offensive league, and can their limited offense figure it out? But they won't make mistakes, I don't think so. Their defense will give them, short yard or good field position, turnovers, things like that, sacks, strip sacks. So I think that the offense, as much as the offense is important this year, Pittsburgh is the team where if any team can get by with a bad offense, it's Pittsburgh.
Big Ben's not making mistakes, 70% completion
Well, I just said.
rate. But the Steelers have beaten teams with a combined record of 3-15-1. They've beaten a bunch of nonsense. And
You got to play who's in front of you.
so I have my real doubts this weekend. I got them at 9, one spot ahead of Cleveland, and I'm not sure if I voted on this tomorrow, I'd feel the same. I think it's a toss-up with Cleveland, a little more explosive offensively. Rams, 4-0, but it's against the NFC East.
I have the Rams. I think I have the Rams at like 6. But I think the Rams are, you talk about impressive. With their schedule, with their travel, with all of that, they have been really, really good. They have played the NFC East as far as, Washington and the Giants and whatever, but they also almost went and beat Buffalo in Buffalo. They have played a tough schedule. They had a lot of travel. I think McVay is back to doing what LA needs him to do. Goff is back to being comfortable, and he's not forcing things. He's just McVay's letting him kind of do what he does best. So even though they aren't the sexiest team of all time, they're certainly not a bunch of household names, especially on offense. This team gets it done. Coaching is important. Sean McVay is back to being that genius prodigy guy he was a few years ago. I think they're probably right there with the second best team in the NFC, probably the Packers. So if LA and Green Bay played, pretty tight game in my opinion, pretty similar teams, and in a relatively weak NFC, I think LA could be a dark horse team moving forward.
East, they are beating up on the Giants and the Cowboys. Number one in yardage differential. That's a real thing, meaning they are explosive. Their defense has the most sacks this year. That was a real point of contention in the offseason. We're not getting the quarterback. Todd Gurley's gone. They've done a nice job.
Which is better, actually, for them. Todd Gurley being there, first of all, he wasn't healthy when he was there. Second of all, they were forcing the ball to him because they had him. Now that he's gone, they can be a bit more versatile with their offense. They can distribute the ball more. When you have a guy like Todd Gurley, you're paying a ton of money. You feel like you have to get him his 15 touches or whatever. And that's why the Rams, I think, were stagnant on offense, was because they had to feed Gurley, who wasn't healthy. He was averaging 3 yards a carry, and it made the offense really bad. But now they can do whatever they want. McVay can open up the playbook and distribute accordingly.
They got Cam Akers, Henderson. They got nice running backs now. I think it's a real good room to be in. It's a good team going forward. I think there's some limitations if Goff senses pressure. But the reality...
Yeah, Goff hates getting hit. If he faces a team that's going to hit him, sack him, give him pressure, he's terrible. But if he sits back, if play action's working, he's as good as it gets. So it really depends on what Goff is facing and how well McVay can keep him comfortable.
The reality is Goff has won 2 games for every game he's lost with Sean McVay, and I got the Rams at 8. Tampa Bay have some concerns. Leonard Fournette still banged.
How the hell? Colin, I thought we were over this. I think last week he had him like 3. I don't know how many more times I explained Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a paper champion. They are, oh, man, we have Tom Brady. Oh, man, we have Rob Gronkowski. Oh, man, we have Leonard Fournette. And then it's like, oh, shit, all these guys suck. Like, these guys aren't very good. Tampa is fine. Like, Tampa is a fine team. But they are not a contender. They are not a threat. I don't see how you can watch that Bears game and say, oh, yeah, this is the 7th best team in the NFL. Brady is probably around the 20th best quarterback in the NFL. What does that tell you? Can you win with the 20th best quarterback in the NFL, Leonard Fournette? Like, how good does Leonard Fournette have to be for the Bucs to be good, right? I mean, I don't think this team is very much different than the Bucs team last year, and I don't think if Jameis Winston was the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and they were 3-2 and just lost to the Bears on prime time, and Jameis Winston forgot what the hell down it was, I don't think Colin Cowherd would have them at 7. And I think Jameis Winston is much more comparable to Tom Brady than people think he is.
Up, Chris Godwin still out. I would like to see this team when they're healthy against Chicago. They have, they've got their best tight end out for the year. Fournette's gone. Godwin, Mike Evans. Here's the good news. Love Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator. They have the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL.
I've been saying this too. Their defense is real. Their defense is really, really good. But Indianapolis' defense is really good. Like that, you can only go so far.
NFL and Mike Evans, when he's healthy, he and Brady have a relationship right now. So this is a team that should get better, but I keep them at 7 because they look like garbage against the Bears. You got Brady barking at people, and frankly, their protection wasn't very good. Buffalo Bills, not much to dislike. Josh Allen, they have 30-plus points in each of their last 3 games.
So this is obviously before Tennessee, so I'm going to give them a break here. I had Buffalo at like 5 or 4 or something before the Tennessee game. Here's Buffalo's problem. I was sold a really good defense, and their defense has been bad. So if they're a bad defensive team, then all they are Josh Allen and a bunch of other guys. This team right here is Josh Allen has to carry them to every win they get. Can he do that? Is it even okay to ask him to do that? Shouldn't there be some help? I think so. So I think Buffalo is a good team, but I don't think they are the team we thought they were. I'm seeing this through the glasses of I saw the Tennessee game where Allen was not very good. They were -3 in turnovers in that game. It's hard to win like that. But Allen has to be an MVP. If Josh Allen is an MVP candidate, the Bills will probably be an AFC Championship game kind of team. If he's not an MVP candidate, then they may not even win the division.
I have them this low because coming up they face Tennessee, the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Seahawks. So I feel like in the next month I'm really gonna get a sense of what they are. I'm
a big fan of that. Like, I got a feeling I'll know what this team is when 9 or 10 games into the season. I think so too.
Said this before. I think it's the best young coaching staff in the NFL. This
Probably.
is it. That and the 49ers, best young coaching staff in the NFL. They've done a miraculous job with Josh Allen. But the truth is the next 3-4 games. Patriots. I would take the Patriots with Cam Newton over the Bills this morning if they played.
I probably would too, to be honest. And I think New England is so good because Cam is good. Their entire structure is good. They know what they're doing. They know who they are. Their defense is really good. Now, the question is, what's going to happen with COVID? Like, is Gilmore going to be playing? Is Cam going to be playing? How much does that matter? There's too many variables. But I do think New England is really, really good. I agree. If they played Buffalo tomorrow, I'd take New England. If there's one coach that can scheme up against, the Josh Allens of the world and whoever else, it's Belichick. They played some really tough competition this year, played them pretty well. Could have beat the Chiefs, could have beat the Seahawks. How different would we be talking about New England if those two games go differently? So I think New England is really good. New England is better without Tom Brady. They are better this year than they were last year. Do not count New England out.
Still the best coach team in the league. Keep your eye on Damian Harris emerging as a star at running back. The second best rushing team after Cleveland. Their defense has allowed one rushing touchdown. Again, with Cam, I think they're a nightmare to face. I think they match up with Kansas City very well. You know how Kansas City is sort of Baltimore's kryptonite? Belichick and this team with Cam Newton could possibly be Kansas City's kryptonite. I think they would have beaten them. They run the ball. They've got an emerging star at running back. You can't run on them, and they're the best coach team in the league. The Seahawks. It's mostly I'm voting Russell Wilson fourth.
It's hard for me. So they're my number one team this week in the power rankings. Look, when you have Russell Wilson playing this way, when you have a dynamic offense like this, when you probably have the best receiver in football in DK Metcalf, when you have Lockett, when you have Carson, you just need the defense to do literally anything. And this team is the best team in the NFL. They just need to exist. Now, the question is, can they? The question is, can they exist? If it's so, like we talk about this with Cam Newton all the time, where 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, same with Lamar Jackson. It's so nice to have the Cam Newtons and Lamar Jacksons to get you that yard, to extend drives, convert 4th downs, convert 3rd downs. If the game is close, it's so nice to have Russell Wilson. If the game is within 10 and there's time on the clock, the Seahawks are in the game. They are so comfortable playing from behind. They're so comfortable with Russell Wilson on a game, game time drive, game winning drive. Give me in the NFL 9 out of 10 times. Give me the best quarterback in the league, and you're going to be very successful. Right now, Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the league. I'd rather him over everybody, including Patrick Mahomes. What a guy!
It is a historically pathetic defense. Now, Jamal Adams has been banged up. They do have Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams. But if you look at most games, game-winning drives in the first 9 seasons of the NFL, Russell Wilson is first all time. Now, again, they got to go to Buffalo, and they got a game against the Rams on the road. So we'll get a little more clarity. But at this point, they've got playmakers. Russell's a playmaker. Jamal Adams a playmaker. DK Metcalf's a playmaker. Bobby Wagner's a playmaker. They've got flaws, but they've also, when you can get outplayed and win like they did against Minnesota, that speaks well of you. They got outplayed and won. Not a lot of teams in the NFL can say that. Ravens, I like them. I think we're selling too much of our stock.
Ravens are good, but they're kind of like Buffalo, where they have a good defense, but they have to have Lamar Jackson playing as an MVP. If he's not playing at an MVP level, I think their ceiling is pretty low. I don't have him at 3. I think I have him at 4. But Buffalo is kind of what we thought they were, where it's Lamar Jackson and that's about it. The only difference in them in Buffalo is like they have a really strong defense. So whereas Josh Allen has to be Superman to win games, Lamar Jackson just has to be good. As long as he's good, then this team's going to win. This team's going to be dangerous. If he's really good, this team's almost unbeatable. So he is a matchup nightmare. The Ravens do offer some real problems, especially on 3rd and short, 4th and short, stuff like that. But he needs a little bit of help offensively, and right now he's not getting it. We saw that in Kansas City where they shut Lamar Jackson down. Game was ugly. But, yeah, they do have a really strong defense. So I like the Ravens, but I don't think – I mean, before the season, we had some people say they're going to be a 16-0. I don't think that's the case. I'm not even sure. We'll Like, are they even? How much better are they than Cleveland? We don't really know. So 3, yeah. I mean, like I said, I have them at 4, so it is what it is. But I don't think Baltimore is the dangerous, dynamic team that they were last year per se, and that's just because Lamar has gotten off to a bit of a slow start compared.
Highest yards per carry in the NFL. Again, that's very Cleveland. They not only run the ball, but they'll pop runs. This is an aggressive home run running game. They can pop stuff. They lead in scoring defense. I thought last week Lamar looked a little banged up, so I didn't take a ton from last week's performance. So don't sell your Raven stock. If you're selling it, I'm buying it. I got him at 3. Kansas City is number 2. Listen, the loss.
I dropped him to 3, but that's only because I have Seattle up. Obviously, he has Green Bay at 1. The loss is important, but the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I mean, if the Chiefs go 14-2, that's really, really good. You know what I mean? Like, that's really, really powerful. So I don't think that just because you lose one time for the first time since November, I don't think that's that big of a deal. So I think the Chiefs should have been dropped from 1. But I don't take too much into the Raiders thing. I think the Chiefs still are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Still, if you're doing a weekly power ranking, sure, drop them. But yeah, anybody saying that the Chiefs aren't what we thought they were, or this is a down year, or they're being exposed, that is just way too early for all that.
To the Raiders, snapped a 13-game winning streak. But I will say this about this team. They can be maddeningly inconsistent, even offensively half to half. They can have bad halves, bad series. They're just not as consistent as I'd like offensively. They don't have a ceiling. I mean, when they're on, lights out. Good night. Thanks for flying United. But they don't get to that point a lot. And I think Andy Reid's concern is, hey, we got to button up some stuff. When we're great, nobody's beating us. But we have some real holes and real droughts, and they did against the Raiders. Green Bay, there's some really interesting numbers here, and
Green Bay, really good. They've also beaten some bad teams. This is another team that's, they play the Falcons, the Lions, the Vikings. So this is a team that's beaten up bad teams. Aaron Rodgers is playing really, really good. Another team with not a great defense at all. Can they? I feel like the Packers right now are like at their ceiling. They're playing as good as they are playing. I do think LaFleur and Rodgers have something figured out. I do think their offense is dangerous. Same with Seattle, where when you have a quarterback that good, you're always in the game. I don't think their offense is as good as Seattle. I don't think Rodgers is as good as Seattle right now. But they may be a little more balanced than Seattle, I suppose. But I think we're going to see how good Green Bay is when they start playing some real competition. Detroit, Minnesota, even the Saints. The Saints weren't playing great, and Saints are banged up. So Green Bay really hasn't had a real challenge so far.
He faces Brady this week. But here's some numbers that you can't deny. They're averaging 6.8 yards a play. That is a Vegas number. Vegas loves that. If you're averaging almost 7 yards a play, why are they doing it? The offensive line is ranked number 1 in the NFL.
Yeah, they definitely have the best offensive line in the NFL, and it's not even close.
NFL. Aaron hasn't thrown a pick. They're not getting penalized. They're not turning the ball over. I think their defense is probably a little better than we give it credit for because Aaron is so fantastic. We pay so much attention to Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay's offense that their defenses are rarely bad. I think it's a good, solid defense. Certainly, there's some bad defenses in the NFC. I think Green Bay's the best team right now. Fewest sacks allowed, no interceptions, 7 yards a play, a better defense. Their special teams are reliable. If Devontae Adams is healthy and he's got some injury history, I think it's a Super Bowl winning team. Hi everybody.
I think they certainly could represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I would not be surprised there. I have no problem with them being 1. I think I have them at 2, but we'll see when they get some competition in them.